In the glitz of 1920s Hollywood, where silent films enchanted millions, some of its brightest stars hid deep personal truths. Behind the fame and flashing lights were 15 talented artists who stayed silent about their identities, forced to hide who they were in a world that wouldn't accept them. Career. Bankhead's husky voice and razor-sharp wit made her a stage sensation in The Little Foxes, 1939. On screen, she sparred with Hitchcock in Lifeboat, 1944. Personal life. Openly bisexual, Bankhead quipped, "Daddy warned me about men, but he never mentioned women." Her rumored affair with Gone with the Wind's Hattie McDaniel challenged racial and sexual taboos. They'd meet at McDaniel's club, where black performers could mingle discreetly. Wrote biographer Joel Lobenthal. Legacy. Bankhead's audacity laid groundwork for later icons like Bette Davis and Madonna. Career. The Russian Jewish émigré produced and starred in avant-garde films like Salome, 1923, a campy adaptation laden with queer symbolism, including a dance of the seven veils performed entirely by men. Though a box office flop, it became a cult classic. Personal life. Nadzimov's Garden of Allah estate hosted bohemian soirees, attended by Garbo, Dietrich, and Tennessee Williams. Her decade-long partnership with Natasha Rambova, Valentino's wife, blurred personal and professional lines, culminating in Salome's lavish sets. Legacy. Nazimova pioneered queer coding, using subtext to convey LGBTQ+ themes under censorship. Her influence echoes in works by John Waters and Pedro Almodóvar. Career. William Haynes rose to fame as MGM's quintessential boy next door, starring in over 50 films, including Brown of Harvard, 1926, and Alias Jimmy Valentine, 1928. His cheeky charm and impeccable comedic timing made him one of the studio's top-earning stars, rivaling John Gilbert. However, his refusal to conform to heteronormative expectations led to a pivotal clash with studio head Louis B. Mayer. Personal life. Haynes lived openly with partner Jimmy Shields, a former naval officer, in Brentwood. When Mayer demanded he enter a lavender marriage, Haynes retorted, "I'm in love, and I'm staying." After leaving acting in 1933, he reinvented himself as an interior designer, crafting opulent spaces for Joan Crawford, Carole Lombard, and even the Reagans. His firm, Haynes & Shields, became synonymous with Hollywood Regency style. Legacy. Haynes's defiance became a blueprint for authenticity. As film historian William J. Mann notes, he traded fame for freedom, proving that integrity could outlast studio contracts. Career. The Mexican-born Novaro became a silent film heartthrob after replacing Rudolph Valentino in Ben-Hur, 1925. His career faltered with talkies, as his accent clashed with the era's preference for all-American voices. By the 1940s, he was relegated to B-movies. Personal life tragedy. Novaro's secret relationship with director Rex Ingram, who called him "my greatest discovery," ended bitterly. Plagued by guilt over his Catholicism and sexuality, he turned to alcohol. In 1968, two brothers, exploiting his closeted status, tortured him for a rumored hidden fortune, leading to his death. The trial exposed Hollywood's hypocrisy, as media outlets obscured the homophobic motive. Context. Novaro's murder mirrored the dangers faced by queer men in an era when police often ignored crimes against LGBTQ+ individuals. Career. The King of Westerns starred in The Covered Wagon, 1923, a blockbuster that popularized the wagon train epic. Personal life. Kerrigan and partner Joseph Boyle co-founded a production company, living together from 1915 until Kerrigan's death. Studio publicists spun tales of Kerrigan as a lonely bachelor, a narrative he privately mocked. Context. Their discreet partnership reflects how queer men leveraged business collaborations to mask relationships. Career. Jean Eagles was a force of nature on stage and screen. Her breakthrough came with the role of Sadie Thompson in Rain, 1922, and she stunned audiences with her depth and rawness. Her final performance in The Letter, 1929, earned her a posthumous Oscar nomination, the first of its kind. Personal life. Eagles lived fiercely and unapologetically. Her bisexuality and battles with addiction added to her mystique, but also led to her being branded as difficult in a male-dominated system. Her death at 39 from a narcotics overdose was dismissed by many as the sad but inevitable end of a troubled actress. Co-star Regis Toomey once said, "She burned too brightly." Legacy. Jean Eagles remains a tragic icon of the stage and screen, her brilliance eclipsed by a culture eager to romanticize her downfall while ignoring the real struggles queer women faced behind the curtain. Career. Paty Kelly made a name for herself as the wisecracking sidekick in 1930s comedies like The Gorilla and Topper Returns. Her sharp timing and no-nonsense delivery won her steady work, even if she rarely got top billing. Personal life. In 1931, Kelly began a lifelong relationship with Wilma Cox. They lived openly by their own standards. "We never lied," Kelly once said, "but we didn't advertise either." After Wilma's death, Patsy became a visible supporter of AIDS awareness and LGBTQ+ causes, using her voice when others still felt they couldn't. Legacy. Quietly revolutionary, Paty Kelly embodied the spirit of pre-Stonewall survival. Authenticity without apology, love without labels, and strength beneath the surface of comedy. Say it, type it, share it. You never know who else might need to hear your words. Career. A Broadway star turned silver screen favorite, Clifton Webb charmed audiences with his quick wit and urbane charm in films like Laura, 1944, and Sitting Pretty, 1948, earning 3 Oscar nominations. Personal life. Webb lived with his beloved mother Maybelle and his long-term companion Merman Smith, a dancer. He never married and was known for his quips. When asked why he stayed single, he famously replied, "I prefer the company of geniuses, like myself." Legacy. Webb's persona, witty, refined, and unapologetically dandyish, challenged the era's narrow views of masculinity. He carved out space for men who didn't conform, long before it was safe or popular to do so. Career. The mysterious, magnetic Greta Garbo ruled the screen in films like Flesh and the Devil and Queen Christina, where her androgynous allure and haunting eyes left audiences spellbound. Her image was that of the ultimate enigma. Personal life. Off-screen, Garbo was a fiercely private woman. Her love affair with poet Mercedes D'Acosta, who once wrote, "I kissed her and she kissed back," was dismissed by the press as a harmless infatuation. But for Garbo, the pressure of living in the public eye and the impossibility of living truthfully pushed her into early retirement at just 36. Legacy. Garbo remains one of cinema's most enduring mysteries. Her withdrawal from fame became its own kind of protest, a rejection of a system that demanded performance even in private life. Career. Valentino was the original matinee idol, the Latin lover whose smoldering presence in The Chic, 1921, made him a global sensation. Women fainted at his premieres, and his style influenced a generation. Personal life. Despite his carefully crafted romantic image, Valentino's marriages to Jean Acker and Natasha Rambova were short-lived and rumored to be covers. Whispers of same-sex affairs, including with cinematographer Paul Ivano, followed him throughout his meteoric rise. Legacy. When Valentino died suddenly at just 31, millions mourned, yet his myth as a heartthrob overshadowed the more complex truths of his life. His story is a powerful example of how stardom can both elevate and erase a person's real identity. Career. With her sleek fashion sense and razor-sharp wit, Lilian Tashman was the kind of woman who lit up pre-code Hollywood. She played vampy, glamorous characters in films like Gold Diggers of Broadway, 1929, and was as much a trendsetter as she was a scene stealer. Personal life. Married to actor Edmund Lowe, Tashman was known in industry circles for her romances with women, most notably with Tallulah Bankhead. Her private life was an open secret in Tinseltown, and while the studio machine spun an image of a perfect Hollywood couple, those close to her knew the truth. When she died suddenly at age 38 from stomach cancer, the tabloids whispered scandal, botched abortion, suicide, but no firm answers ever came. Legacy. Tashman's untimely death and the gossip it provoked exemplify how Hollywood shaped, twisted, and buried queer stories. Her charisma still lingers. But the truth of her life was something the industry was never ready to confront. Career. A visionary of American theater, Eva Legal founded the Civic Repertory Theater in 1926 with the goal of making high art accessible, charging only $1.50 for a ticket. She wasn't just an actress, she was a pioneer, a producer, and a force for cultural change. Personal life. Legal was quietly, but proudly, lesbian in an era of silence. Her relationship with actress Josephine Hutchinson led to scandal and legal threats when Hutchinson's husband accused Legal of alienation of affection. Her journals reveal the pain of hiding her truth, with one entry reading, "Why must love be unnameable?" Legacy. Honored with a Tony Award in 1964 and the Presidential Medal of Freedom in 1986, Legal paved the way for LGBTQ+ artists like Lily Tomlin and Cherry Jones. Her life was proof that one could be both outcast and icon. Career. Charles Loftton was one of classic Hollywood's most electrifying talents. His Oscar-winning performance in The Private Life of Henry VIII, 1933, revealed his genius for portraying emotionally layered, often tormented characters. He brought haunting depth to roles in films like Mutiny on the Bounty, 1935, and The Hunchback of Notre Dame, 1939, leaving audiences both captivated and unsettled. Personal life. Though he was married to actress Elsa Lanchester, their union was not what it seemed. Lanchester later revealed, "We were both homosexuals, but we loved each other." Loftton struggled deeply with shame and self-denial in an industry and an era that offered no space for acceptance. Director William Dieterle once recalled Loftton weeping after filming The Hunchback of Notre Dame, softly saying, "This is how I feel inside." Legacy. Loftton's inner turmoil reflects the emotional toll of hiding one's identity. Yet despite the weight of silence, his brilliance endured. His performances still resonate today, not just for their artistry, but for the pain and truth they carried beneath the surface. Career. Barbara Stanwyck was a powerhouse of old Hollywood, known for her razor-sharp instincts and emotional range. She brought fierce vulnerability to Stella Dallas, 1937, and icy allure to Double Indemnity, 1944. Becoming one of the most versatile and admired actresses of her time. Personal life. Her marriage to actor Robert Taylor was widely viewed as a studio-arranged partnership, more publicity than passion. Behind the scenes, whispers of romantic ties to Joan Crawford and Marlene Dietrich followed her throughout her career. Stanwyck later admitted, "Hollywood built me up, but it also caged me." That cage was not just professional, but personal, limiting how fully she could live and love. Legacy. Stanwyck's quiet strength helped crack the mold for women in film. While she never publicly addressed the rumors, her independence and unwillingness to conform inspired future generations of actresses to challenge the industry's rigid rules and to claim space for their authentic selves. Career. British-born Charles Bryant found his way to Hollywood during the silent era, but his greatest claim to fame wasn't his own performances. It was his association with the luminous Alla Nazimova. The two entered into a marriage of convenience in 1919, a strategic move to protect Nazimova's secret life as a lesbian in an unforgiving Hollywood. While Bryant directed several of her films, including the daring and avant-garde Salome, 1923, his contributions were often overshadowed by hers. Personal life. After the marriage ended and Nazimova continued on her artistic path, Bryant faded from the spotlight. With few roles and little support, he returned to England, where he died nearly forgotten and broke in 1948. In a bitter twist, his final years were marked by poverty, a stark contrast to the glamour he once brushed shoulders with. Legacy. Charles Bryant's story is a sobering reminder of how Hollywood used and discarded those who played their parts in hiding inconvenient truths. He was a man who helped shield a legend, but paid for it with obscurity and loneliness.